Hello. I wanted to make sure everything was working correctly. So I did go live a few minutes early. So we will give people a chance to kind of come in. I hope everyone's doing well. We're here for another Wellness Wednesday. Sorry, looking for my Kleenex. Allergies with the shift in the weather. So hopefully you can hear me okay. If somebody wouldn't mind maybe putting a 1 in the chat. Don't forget to like the live stream when you come in as well. It helps let other people know about us over here at Better Days on the channel. So we got maybe 1 more minute and we'll go ahead and get started. And I hope everyone's having a great day. I'm very excited for today's Wellness Wednesday, presented by Better Days Wellness Clinic. And I'll be the one presenting. I am Tanisha Rayson-Henry, board certified family nurse practitioner, CEO and founder of Better Days Wellness Clinic. Okay, so it's 4. I'm going to go ahead and get started. And today we're going to be doing a bit of a walkthrough through the framework that I created that's called R.E.S.E.T. And R.E.S.E.T was designed to set as like the foundation of just healthy, well living. And so this Wellness Wednesday, we're going to be going through that framework and looking at how simple lifestyle hacks can make for a healthier you. Okay. So before we get started, I've put a lot of the principles and guidelines. Well, I don't want to say guidelines, ideas and tips, healthy habits, practices into my book. And it's called the R.E.S.E.T 30-Day Wellness Guide. And let me see. As you can see, you have like your daily tracker and different information and things like that. And so it's broken up kind of like the way the R.E.S.E.T is. Great guide. Can be used as a standalone for somebody who's just kind of want to do their own thing, like a 30-day kickstart. It is great as a standalone tool on your wellness journey, but it's even better if you were to use one of our R.E.S.E.T programs, right? And you can get that at Amazon, and obviously you can get a copy in hand if you are near our clinic. So let's go ahead and get started. So most people know they need to eat better and move more, right? How many times have you gone to the doctor? Doctors let you know your BMI is up, and they just say, like, eat healthier, watch what you eat, exercise is pretty much what they tell you to do. But they don't always, but then you don't know where to start, right? People who are overweight or people who are not feeling well, nobody has to kind of tell them that, right? Excuse me. They already know, but it's like, where do you start? And so that's why I created the R.E.S.E.T framework. It's 5 simple pillars that help you restore your balance, support your gut, and manage stress so that you can transform your health one small step at a time. So today I'm going to be breaking down each pillar, plus giving you a few quick lifestyle hacks you can start using right away. And if you hear little feet in the background, I am streaming from my office at home, so it's just my dogs. So, the R.E.S.E.T framework, right? Each letter stands for something. And so, like I said, the goal is to help personalize the plan for you and where you're at, because we believe that every body, BODY, capitalized, is different. So everybody's journey will be different. So if you're ready to improve your energy, balance your hormones, and finally feel good in your body again, then this live stream is for you. So we're going to go ahead and get started with R. R stands for restore. And so when it comes to restore, it could be from the mindset of coming to the realization, being aware, and saying, I need to take action to improve my health, right? Restore can mean you already are aware, but now you're ready to take the first step, right? You're ready to start. And so healing we believe that healing starts in the gut at better days. And so what are some lifestyle hacks that you can do to begin to restore your gut, right? To in turn restore your whole body. You can start your morning with warm lemon water. You may have heard people who do this. The reason why, that warm water kind of gets things moving digestively. But then you have the lemon that helps to kind of be like a gentle detox. So a lot of people like to start their day with warm lemon water. You can also do this with a high quality herbal tea that can kind of get things moving and kind of act as a detox. So that's a good way to start the morning. It's a good way to get your digestion going. It's a good way to, kind of wake up your gut, if you will. Another thing you can do as you begin to restore your gut and therefore your whole body is making sure that you eat at least 25 to 30 grams of fiber daily. So people think, oh, I'm sure I get enough fiber, this, that, and the third. And you'll be surprised how much fiber we don't get, especially if we're not eating a ton of whole foods. We're eating a lot of processed foods and things like that, even processed foods that are, fiber this, fiber that. Those are still not the best forms of fiber. So sometimes taking a fiber supplement or adding other foods, maybe into a smoothie or something like that, that are high in fiber. So what's some of those things you could do? You can maybe make like a yogurt bowl, or even, like I say, a smoothie, and add flaxseed, berries, leafy greens to make sure you're getting that fiber. So, what's so great about fiber? Well, fiber feeds our good bacteria. It also helps create short chain fatty acids. And what do those things do? They nourish the gut lining. So the gut lining, you want that to be tight, not loose. If it's tight, then toxins, undigested food, other things that we don't want going into the blood system won't be able to get in. Also, when your gut lining is healthy and strong, it helps reduce inflammation. And fiber can also help kind of, I don't want to say regulate, but can help with blood sugars, keeping them in a normal, good, healthy range. So fiber is very, very important. But all fiber supplements, you may need to supplement. You may not be able to get enough fiber from your diet alone, are not created equal. So, look for fiber supplements that have inulin fiber. It doesn't have a lot of filler and other gunk in it. Okay. Another thing you can do is avoid snacking late at night. This gives your gut time to rest and repair. So many of us have heard of all kinds of schedules when it comes to intermittent fasting. And so some people do 16-8, which seems to be like kind of the standard go-to for many people. But I've read in research and things like that sometimes a 16-8 may not be the best for women. So I always advise people start with like 12 and 12, right? Start with 12 and 12 and then you can play around and see maybe 1410 might work for you. Not to say that 16:8 is not good for women, but I've read some research where it was suggested that that might not be the best for women. So start with 12:12 and then go from there, maybe 14:10, and then who knows, maybe 16:8. All depending on how you feel, because going back to, like I said, everybody is different. So the way I want you to think about the R and restore is when your gut is balanced, everything else, your skin, your energy, your hormones start to fall into place. That's why here at Better Days, we do take a gut first approach, right? Because I have learned the power of the gut, and so the gut can help transform so many other things that are going on in your body. So we start with the gut. All right. So the first E stands for eat well. Food is healing and necessary, right? We got to eat, but what we eat makes a difference. All right. So when you think about your plate, so many rules of thumb and things of that nature, right? Out there, so much this, a percentage of that, half that, and things of that nature. So I tell people just, you're not always able to weigh everything out. Like obviously, if you could weigh everything out, that would be, that would be great. That would be wonderful. If most people were weighing out like certain size of things, we probably wouldn't have obesity, problem here in America. But we just don't. So I try to give my patients and even myself apply roundabout, right? Um, Ways of thinking about it. So when like you're building your plate, right? Obviously you want to have protein, fiber, and colorful fruits, right? I mean, fruits and vegetables, right? That have color. You may have heard people say eat the rainbow, right? So red, orange, yellow, um, uh, purple, things of that nature. Green. Did I say green? Um, and so they call that like the blood sugar trifecta, right? So when it comes to protein, women at a like minimum need to get at least 50 to 60 grams of protein daily. You'd be surprised how many people don't hit that, and they think that they do. So then when they hear people talking about they're eating over 100 grams of protein, it just seems like it's so much because that's what they think they're getting or close to, and most people don't even get close to 50 or 60 grams. So first find out about, okay, how much is 3 ounces of chicken or 3 ounces of salmon or what have you, whatever your go-to protein source is. And then that way you can always kind of use that as a baseline. Like, okay, I had this for breakfast, this for lunch. Then you can kind of be like, okay, I feel comfortable without having to weigh and measure and all the things, that I'm somewhere between that 50 or 60 at a minimum. And then again, like what I said with fiber, if you use a fiber supplement, know that you're getting high fiber foods in. You should be good there. All right. And so, like, typically, what I try to tell people is about the size of your fist for like meat, right? So if a chicken breast is about this size, or steak or pork chop or what have you, then that's a good way to kind of keep things balanced, right? Once you kind of know what that how much, is that 4 ounces of whatever animal protein that is, then you can, kind of do a rough estimate versus having to feel like you have to be very strict and write down everything to the T. All right. So think of your portion of protein, and then your portion of veggies, then your portion of fiber, or like carbohydrates, but you want them to be quality carbs, not uh, processed carbs. Let's just say it that way. Okay. Other thing you can do to eat well is swapping out sugary drinks for infused water or green tea. A lot of people think that because pop or soda, depending on where you're watching from, comes in zero or diet, that it's better. No, those artificial sweeteners can do even more damage, to the body and things of that nature. So minimizing sugary drinks is always best. All right. So, way I want you to walk away, and what I want you to think about when it comes to eating well is, instead of asking, what do I have to cut out? Ask yourself, what can I add in that nourishes me? Right? What can I add in? So it's all about mindset. Going back to how I started today's live, it's about mindset. If you look at, oh God, I can't have this, I can't have that, versus, okay, what can I add? You'd be surprised. I thought I would never be somebody who would eat chia seeds, because my frame of reference when it came to chia was the late night commercials with chia pet plants. So I used to be like, I ain't eating no chia seeds, and I would see chia seed puddings and people putting chia seeds in oatmeal and all these things, and I was like, mm-mm. And actually, chia seeds don't even have a taste, in my opinion. So now I do not make a yogurt bowl at home without putting chia seeds on it, because why? It's just an extra source of goodness, right? So I do. I no longer am doing Greek yogurt because I did a hair strain analysis and it showed that I had high sensitivity to dairy. So I've been using like coconut milk based, or cashew milk based yogurt. So I'm doing that with blueberries, pecans, and chia seeds, and it's delicious. So I didn't look at, oh, I can't have Greek yogurt no more. And it's not that I can't have it, but at the time, my gut was just so inflamed. I needed to give my body a break from them high sensitivity foods. And so I still like a good yogurt bowl. So I found a good alternative, so that's perfect example of, okay, what can I add, and there's some pretty good ones out there. Like flavor wise, they were all good, but some were a little bit more soupy than that kind of thickness you get with traditional Greek yogurt. But I did find some that kind of had a better consistency, and so that's my go-to now. I don't have a desire to go back to Greek yogurt, so that's a perfect example of what can I add versus what do I have to take away. All right, so S stands for sleep and stress management. Rest isn't lazy, it's medicine. People who know me, like family and close friends, know that when I say I'm about to woosah, that means I'm about to kind of take my break. And sometimes my break happens at the beginning of the day when I wake up, and sometimes it's just throughout the day, and that's just my time to be able to just sit, maybe scroll on social media, um, play my game. It's a few games that I like to play every day. I like puzzle games and word games and things like that. And it's just my time to just decompress. And like I say, sometimes it's the very beginning of the day because I know that I got a busy day. So this is me taking time for myself to just breathe. And sometimes it's at the end of the day or throughout the day. So I call it my woosah time. So being recognizing when you need to take a break is actually a beautiful thing. It's probably one of the best ways you can um, show yourself like self-care. Everybody, I shouldn't say everybody, but many people, when they think of self-care, they, especially when it comes to women, they think, get your nails done, get your toes done, get your hair done, get a facial or massage. Those are all great, and they do help, keep you up. You know, like no one ever, uh, doesn't like to look nice and up and fresh and feel good. But being able to recognize when you need to take a break is actually probably one of the best ways to administer self-care. So, what can we do when it comes to making sure that we're getting quality sleep We need to be getting at least 7 to 8 hours of consistent sleep. Many people are not getting that. They're not getting it for whatever reason. Because they're so stressed up, they can't come down, so they're waking up in the middle of the night. Hormones could be playing a factor, or just um, not managing the day. The day is managing them, meaning that um, you know work responsibilities, home life, and things of that nature. I'm a big. If I don't get at least 7 hours of sleep, I'm not a happy camper. I just cannot do it. Even when I was younger, I enjoy getting my sleep. So, what can you do, and what can I do to make sure that we're getting at least 7 to 8 hours of continual sleep every night? You can set a digital sunset. And what does that mean? That means that no screens 30 minutes before bed. So 30 minutes before you actually plan to be asleep, no phone, no computer, no tablet. And in this day and age, I know it's very hard. When I was a teenager, early 20s, like I probably didn't get my first, like for real cell phone, as far as like, with more than just calling capability, until what, my mid 20s. So I would say probably all the way up until I was 30, or maybe late almost 30. The way I ended my day most nights was reading. And if you look in like shows and movies, that's what they'll still kind of show people doing, right? The husband, the wife, one's reading, the other one goes to sleep, cuts the light off, kind of thing. And so um, that is something that I try to practice most nights. It don't always happen, but again, I'm somebody, because I, have my own practice. So I kind of, don't have to get up at the crack of dawn and be somewhere as far as a job. I'm still able to sleep longer than if I, had to report somewhere else, kind of thing. But just to bring the mind down, it's still a good thing. Right? It's still a good thing. Um, the other thing is just breathing, you know, taking deep breaths. So, breathing in for 4, holding it, exhaling for 4, and holding that, doing that a couple of times helps bring those stress levels, down. So some people practice breathing to start the day, throughout the day, to end the day. But yeah, anytime that I find myself wired up and stressed and everything, I just take a pause and say, let me breathe for a minute, just to calm down, right? Excuse me, guys. So, the other thing, and I like to do this as well, even when I don't do the reading, I often will do this, is write down 3 things you're grateful for before bed. It helps calm the mind. So a lot of people journal the end of the day. Um, I like to do this because sometimes you can lose um, the bright spots, in your day. And bright spots may not always be grand gestures or what have you, right? It might be that you did that one thing, 2 days in a row, right? It didn't change anything. It didn't, you know, cause this grand thing to happen. But it's the little things of, I said I was going to do X, Y, and Z, and for 2 days straight I did it. So being able to reflect on that at the end of the day will more than likely put you in a good mental space, and be able to fall asleep and actually get quality sleep. Okay, so nightly gratitude journaling or reflection is a great way to bring the stress level down so that you can get some good quality sleep. So, how do I want you to think about this, or what I want you to walk away with is your body can't heal in fight, or flight mode. Give yourself permission to pause. A lot of times, a lot of times, people are doing all the things, right? They may be exercising, watching what they eat, like down to the, to the bite. They may be taking all the supplements that everybody say they need to do. They doing intermittent fasting. They doing all the things, but they have this incredibly stressful life, and they can't understand why the scales not moving, why their clothes not fitting different, and things of that nature. And it's because of the sleep and stress, that fight or flight mode. Your body cannot heal in that state. People underestimate the power of sleep and managing stress. For a lot of people, that is when they begin to see things move, right? Once they recognize and say, I got to do better in this area. Okay. All right. So our final E in reset is exercise. And I want you all to think about exercise in a different way. When people decide to go on a wellness or weight loss journey, 9 times out of 10, or at least 8 out of 10, I would say most people kind of think of, let me do a program, right? Or let me go to the gym because I see the people on social media doing, X, Y, and Z. So a lot of times we get into like boot camps and HIT programs and, very intense things. And sometimes we are like, I'm doing all the things. I'm going to, hard body, blah, 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 4 days a week. I'm doing this and doing it. And they don't see the scale, right? And it's because, again, going back to what we were just talking about, stress levels. Doing that kind of intense training, exercising, it will raise your stress hormone, cortisol, right? So with reset, we want you to think about exercise in a little bit different way. Not to say that you can't challenge yourself and do those eventually, but when you're in a state of healing the gut, healing the whole body, you got to do things that are aligned with that. Okay? So, what does that mean? Movement is medicine, not punishment. So, some lifestyle hacks. Taking a 10-minute walk after meals to help blood sugar and digestion. Like, it sounds so small, and people think it couldn't move any needles. You will be surprised. Most people, especially once they have like a heavy meal, they pop down and just sit. They don't jump up because they, maybe too stuffed. So if you got in the habit of, let's say, if you have a 30-minute lunch, sometimes it's just not doable. But what about when you get home from work? Maybe you can't do it right after that meal, but just taking a 10-minute walk, maybe once you're able to get home prior to, dinner, maybe that'll prompt you maybe not to eat as much, right? But also help with stress, help with calorie burn, um, and could maybe help your appetite lessen a little bit, right? Because when we stress, most people will gravitate towards eating more because they're looking for comfort and to be soothed. Some people eat less, but not as much, right? So 10-minute walks. Ideally, after meals would be great, but if you could at least start doing one, especially if you're not doing any kind of exercising, it will have a ripple effect. I'm guaranteeing that. The other thing is doing strength training. People don't realize that you need to do some type of resistance training, especially as women as you get older, right? Because you don't want to lose muscle mass and things like that. Strength training helps with your bones, your muscles, keeping your fat percentage down. Help with hormones regulating and things of that nature. So 2 to 3 times a week is key for metabolism and longevity. All right. And then I have gotten on a kettlebell kick. I'm doing a little bit of a challenge. I'm doing 100 kettlebell swings. for 100 days. So today is the 15th. So I've done it for 14 days, and I'm in 14 days. Like, did I see 100% improvement? No, but I can see improvement. You know, this way I keep it simple. I hit my 7,500 steps, and I'm getting myself back on track. I'm practicing what I preach to my patients. And so that's all I'm doing every day. 100 kettlebell swings. I thought I had heavier kettlebells, but I guess both of them are 5 pounds. So I just do 100 swings a day. And sometimes I maybe do them in the morning and get them out the way. Sometimes I'm doing them at night. I get my 7,500 steps in. If it means I have to get on the treadmill to get the rest of them, I do that. So I might be on the treadmill for 10 minutes, 30 minutes until I get my 7,500 steps. But just doing those two small things have made a tremendous difference in my digestion, in my sleep, in my waistline, in the way my clothes are fitting. I haven't got it on the scale. I may get on the scale at the end of October because I'm just curious because I did gain weight because I stopped exercising July 18th due to some things going on with my knee. And so, to show you and be transparent how important the little bit of exercising that you're doing, I shouldn't even say little bit, the not intense exercise that you're doing, low impact exercise that is consistent keeps your weight managed, right? Because in August, September, so in about 2.5 months, I had gained weight and not just a couple of pounds. And that was the one thing that was different. So you may not think that 10, 20-minute walk, getting 5,000, 7,500, 10,000 steps a day, you may not think it makes a difference. Stop doing it and see what happens. You'll end up like me, right? But now, in 2 weeks of consistency, doing this every single day, it is going back the other way. So um, that's my little transparency moment. So remember this: it doesn't have to be perfect; it just has to be consistent. And speaking of consistent, I have embraced this versus perfection. So this book here, Atomic Habits by James Clear. Absolutely love this book. This book changed how I see life. Such a great book. I encourage anybody, as it says, an easy and proven way to build good habits and break bad ones. Great book. Tiny changes, remarkable results. He talks about being 1% better every day. If somebody told you only have to be 1% better every day, that if you did that, you kept that mindset, and you just said, I only have to be 1% better than I was yesterday, today, and kept on, you'll end up being 37% better. He talks about the math and all that stuff in there. But if you got 1% worse each day, I forgot what it was, but you would end up in a negative, right? And so when you think about it like that, like who couldn't be 1% better every day, right? Um, Such a great book, really meets you where you are. So if you're somebody who's already kind of got a wellness routine going, or you're somebody looking to um, wrap your head around how can I bite size down the things that I need to change about my health and wellness. Great, great book. Great book. Again, Atomic Habits. Okay. All right. So T is for transformation, right? And that's what we are looking for. Some of us want transformation in 24 hours or 30 days. And yeah, you can see a change. But the goal, and that's one of the things he talks about in this book, what I want my patients to, I want the goal to be, who do I want to represent, right? Do I want to be known as someone who prioritizes health and wellness? Or do I just want to lose 20 pounds before my birthday trip? Right? He talks about like mindset, getting out of the goal of it, right? Looking at the 1%, being consistent, not being perfect, things of that nature. And that's when you get true transformation. When you know that it's progress over perfection, right? Can I be consistent? I have a saying that I like to say that the life you desire is on the other side of discipline. So when I'm not doing what I need to do, I have to check myself and say, hey, the life you want is on the other side of discipline. So what you gonna do? You're gonna either go in here and do the things that you're supposed to do, or you just, gonna sit here and do nothing about it kind of thing. Right? All right, so transformation, the T in reset. It's when you take knowledge plus consistency, it equals transformation. So, what kind of life hacks can get you to that point? Like I say, tracking your meals, you can start very controlled where you are measuring and eyeballing things so that you have an idea, so that when you're out and about, you kind of have an idea about, okay, about how many calories, protein, fiber, and all that kind of stuff, right? You can track your mood when it comes to what you eat. That's important too. You can track your energy when it comes to what you eat. And you can do this for 1 week. 1 week. And patterns tell the truth. Patterns tell the truth. Very seldom will you have somebody eat like a salad with a clean dressing, clean protein, talk about how stuffed they are or how crappy they feel. But you get somebody who's eating a greasy cheeseburger with fries and a big old, sugary pop, chances are their stomach is hurting later, right? So, tracking meals, mood, and energy for 1 week, you'll be able to see some patterns between your meal and the mood and energy that it, has compared to other meals. So, what else can help you get to this transformation? The knowledge plus consistency. Get functional testing to uncover your root causes of your gut issues, of the hormonal symptoms that you're having, of what micronutrients you may be deficient in, or cases of food sensitivities, right? And so we have our hair strand analysis test that comes with all of our programs. Right. That comes with all, I had to think about it. That comes with all of our programs. And it uses just a few strands of hair and is able to provide insight on 1,700 health markers, food sensitivity, non-food sensitivity, your gut health, your stress and inflammation levels, um, additives. So, the additives in products that you use, foods that you eat, things of that nature. So that now you're well equipped to be able to come up with a plan to start healing your gut, right? Based on those food sensitivities, non-food sensitivities, the additives and things like that. It gives you, what's the saying? Like, once you know better, you do better kind of thing. So we do offer that in all our programs. And then reflect weekly. What worked for me this week? What didn't? Right? And it's no harm, no foul. Right? But that way you get to where you want to be. You get to that transformation. Right? And that's what we want. Because the transformation we want to become a complete lifestyle. This is just who you are. Going back to the book, Atomic Habits. How do you show up? When people think of you, do they think of health and wellness? Do they think of consistency? Do they think of, oh, this is somebody who prioritizes their health, right? That should be what the goal is. Because you can have somebody who has a normal BMI, but they're not healthy. We all know people like that, right? We know people who are heavy, right? may even come back as obese on the BMI, but they also have a low fat percentage, right? So that's something that has to be taken in consideration because they only eat whole foods, organic, non-GMO foods. They exercise, they do all the things. So then it's like you got to look at the whole picture, to determine is the health and wellness of the person, right? Not just going off of the body, if that makes sense. What the body shape look like. All right. So what do I want you to remember when it comes to the T in reset? Excuse me, you all. Awareness is the bridge between knowing and doing. Once you see the pattern, you can shift the outcome. That is so true. Uh, I'm living proof of that. I saw the outcome, what not exercising, not getting my steps, could do in 2.5 months, and I got back on it. Okay. So, um, I don't see any questions in the chat. Feel free to put them there, even if you are watching this on replay, and I'll be sure to answer them for you. So, a couple of things. Um, Remember, you don't have to overhaul your life overnight. I think that's where many of us, and again, he kind of talks about that in Atomic Habits. Many of us feel like, okay, I'm gonna get my life together. I'm eat this way. I'm gonna drink this much water. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do that, and you trying to do all these things, change all these things all at once, and that's why after 3 days you ready to give up because you need to just kind of start with one thing at a time. So when it comes to the reset framework, I would suggest start with one pillar this week. Maybe it's sleep, or maybe it's eating more real food. Then stack on another small habit. Thank you, Pamela. Stack on another small habit. That's how that's how real transformation happens. So, like with me, I could have got on a program. I could have started doing all the things, but I said, nope, I'm going to take it one thing at a time. I can get my steps. I can do this 100 kettlebell swing. That's it. That's all I'm doing for exercise. And I said I would do that for the swings for 100 days. But, I'll reevaluate at November 1st as far as do I want to add something or do I just want to stick with what I'm doing? So far so good. It's working, you know. So then maybe I'll look for another area in my life based on reset that I could tweak. I know I can definitely improve my night routine, and I am working on that. But I'm not. That's not the main focus. The main focus is being consistent with the exercise right now. Okay. So just wanted to give some examples of this. Um, I hope that you all liked it. Please be sure to like, subscribe, and share with anyone who you think might need some motivation. And, the reset may be, simple enough for them to implement on their own, or, can always book a wellness strategy session with me at the clinic. The website is www.betterdayswc.com. We also have a very good webinar coming up October 22nd at 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. And the link for the registration should be in the description of uh, this live video. If not, I will make sure to copy it and maybe pin it to the comment section once I'm done with the live. And it is on awareness to action, protecting breast health. So I will be discussing all things breast cancer related. This is October. This is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But I will also be discussing some things that I only know one other person who is talking about the role gut health plays when it comes to either increasing your risk for breast cancer or lowering your risk for breast cancer. And then also how gut health is playing a role in regards to recovery and treatment, as far as those who get diagnosed and then go into treatment and recovery, in remission. So I think it's going to be a very, very different approach to breast cancer webinar presentations that you have seen in the past. So again, if it's not in the description, I will definitely make sure that I pin it to the top of the comments. And okay, thank you, Melissa. I'm glad that you found this information helpful. Um, and so be sure to check that out. So if we don't have any questions, I think that's going to be it for the Better Days Wellness Clinic, Wellness Wednesday. We will be back next Wednesday with another informative and hopefully insightful um, discussion. All right. You all enjoy the rest of your day and I hope you have a great week. Peace.